Tuesday, this is regular classes because my advanced classes don't meet today. Oh yeah, the date, April 23rd. Getting farther into the Outsiders. Going with the first period after we're reading our seriously interesting read aloud book. Inspiring all kinds of conversations. So your test is coming up on Monday. We're going to talk about In the Book coming up on Friday. Outsiders homework comes due Thursday. The book drive, you usually get points. Honor side to Kings Island. You still have one more day of I Learn tomorrow. And let's see, where we left off with you guys. We did the whole burning church thing, and we had the small children. Once again, how do we save children from a burning church?
Out the window.
Throw them out the window. And what happens to Pony Boy?
He's paralyzed. He died. Stop being passed out. He's on fire. And then he gets paralyzed.
Once again, try again. Pony Boy.
Gets on fire.
There you go. Pony Boy is the one that catches on fire.
Yeah, and then Dally punches him in the back.
Dally punches him to help put him out. What happens to Johnny?
The beam
There you go.
breaks his back. And
Crushy. But he gets burned. But then the paralyzed, so technically it's all okay. Alright, things I wanted to cover with you before we get a chance to read. Cole.
Does Dally want to go full Zeus with Cherry?
I don't think Dally does. No. He just thinks he has a crush on her.
Pony Boy does.
Boxing your ears.
Oh yeah, what did happen to her?
Boxing your ears when you smack something like that on your ears, like getting
I feel like Beethoven
I'll get to you.
right?
something like that.
Take their points. You were fighting in school.
Page 111. We talked about Soda and Sandy earlier when he was talking about going out to the movies, and Pony Boy was like, I like Sandy, she's the nice one. But then when he comes back after the whole being at the church, there's this awkward scene between the two of them. I'm going to read that scene, and then if you can figure out what happened, because they do a obscure reference to something. I'm curious if you picked up what they're talking about. So it says, halfway down as we're about to, it says, you know what? Soda Pop said to me, said to no one in particular. When we stomp those Soshis good, me and Stevie here are going to throw a big party, and everyone can get stoned. It meant back then, before marijuana.
We wrote like that book, like, or you showed us that video.
Wait, I thought it meant
No, it just meant drunk on this one.
Oh.
Then we'll go chase the Soshis clear to Mexico. Where are you going to get the dough, little man? Derry had found the cake and was handing out pieces. I don't know. I'll think of something, Soda Pop assured him between bites. You going to take Sandy to the party? I asked, just to be saying something. Then instant silence. I looked around. What? What's the deal? Soda Pop was staring at his feet, but his ears were reddening. No, she went to live with her grandmother in Florida. Oh, how come? Look, Steve said, surprisingly angry. Does he have to draw you a picture? He's either that or get married. And her parents almost hit the roof at the idea of her marrying a 16-year-old kid. 17, Soda said softly. I'll be 17 in a couple of weeks. Oh, I said, embarrassed. Soda was no innocent. I'd been in on bull sessions, and his bragging was as loud as anyone's. But never about Sandy. Not ever about Sandy. I remembered how her blue eyes had glowed when she looked at him, and felt sorry for her. So Sandy moved, but there's a reason why Sandy moved.
To get away from him.
He was too young.
She's pregnant. She's pregnant.
Nicely done. She's pregnant. So that's the reference that they're making, because the idea that once she got pregnant, they're saying you either have to move to have the baby, or you have to get married. Because that was a fairly common practice during this time period, that if they went full Zeus, and then the girl gets pregnant, that you would either get married, or you would move to go live with like grandparents or an aunt or an uncle, and you'd go and live there for like 9 months, and then you'd come back. And so that was the thing here, is that she's going to go down and live with her grandma for 9 months and then get a chance to come back. And that's where he's like, oh, and he figured out what was going on there. Because apparently Sandy's parents were like, no, you're not getting married to some 16-year-old dropout. So instead you're going to move away and you're going to have the kid and we'll deal with it from there. So that's what they're referring to on that one.
My parents told me they can never.
Because there'd be like an old bro, a drunk baby.
My mom said she'd kick me out of the house.
I think my mom would just kill me and throw me.
I asked her. She was like, I'll kick you out of the house.
Myra, why would
Then
If I got that much kids.
Jumping to page 115, we have the Randy shows up to talk to Ponyboy. And Randy was whose best friend? Bob. Nice done. And so he was Bob's best friend, and that's when we find out that he's like, hey, we have the whole big fight coming up, and Randy's like, I'm not going to be in the fight. Why won't Randy be in the fight? And that's when he says, hey, it doesn't matter. He's like, if you guys win, you're still poor, and we're still going to beat you up. If we win, we're still rich, and we're still going to beat you up. So he was like, there's no point in this. Plus, there's every chance someone's going to get hurt. I know this because my best friend's now in a grave because he got shanked. So he's like, what's the point? But with Randy, he's sort of hosed. If he doesn't show up, what's everyone going to think about him?
He's a chicken. Wussy.
That he's a wussy and a chicken. But if he does show up, he's dishonoring his best friend. He was like, Bob would not want me to keep doing this. He was like, so either way, I'm hosed. If I show up, then I dishonor my best friend. If I don't show up, everyone else who's still alive thinks I'm a wussy. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, plus, you're a greaser, and you saved all these kids. He was like, I don't think I'd do that. And Point was like, yeah, you would. He's like, the fact that we're having this conversation, you're a pretty decent person. There's every chance you would also. He's like, it doesn't matter if you're a soch or a greaser. Deep down, we're all just kind of humans. And humans in the hearts are good people. Most of them are. Oh yeah, and then Ponyboy and 2-Bit, they get in there to see the doctor and stuff like that. And we meet Johnny's mom. And what kind of person is Johnny's mom?
A jerk.
And that's where Johnny won't even let his own parents come in to see them. Because he was like, no, well, of course, previously, what kind of relationship did he have with his parents? They beat. Now, at one point, he mentions that fact that, or Ponyboy mentions that Johnny's dad beats him with a 2x4. If
That's
you don't
a piece
know what
of
a
wood.
2x4
That's a piece
is,
of wood.
it is. This is a 2x4. So when you talk about the fact that his dad beats him, this is what his dad beats him with. So when you're wondering why he doesn't want to see his parents, that'd probably be why. You're like, oh, why would I not want to see him?
So was he in an accident?
I don't think he was in, maybe, as much as just some people are just horrible people. You know how there's just kids that you think are bad kids?
Yeah.
Eventually, they grow up to be bad adults. Or they just, yell at each other across the room and get rid of their last few points.
Did you ever see him like right here?
No, I went to a normal school and my parents were not beating people.
My dad and my sister was.
We covered that one in the hospital after the fire. We're good to go there. And let's see, with Johnny does have a request. And what is the one thing Johnny wants while he's in the hospital?
Gone with the wind.
And that's where he's like, hey, he's like, since I can't really, move around a whole lot, I have a lot of free time. He's like, can I get a copy of that book to go read? And they're like, yeah. And then, of course, Dally has his own request. What's Dally want?
The 9. The switchblade.
Dally's not big on books. And why does Dally want the switchblade?
To kill him.
Because for him, he's afraid they're not going to let him leave the hospital. And so he figured if he has a switchblade, then he can stab his way out of the hospital. Which is weird because you're in a hospital, not a prison. In a hospital, you just go, I want to leave. And they go, okay. And you just walk out. I think Dally's used to being in prisons where you have to stab your way out. And in the hospital, they're just like, okay, you don't have to stab me, just there's a door. But Dally's a little special. We covered that one already. And cover that one, you guys are good to go. And then the whole Cherry and Ponyboy, and they fight, because what does Ponyboy want Cherry to do?
Go, apologize to Johnny.
And she refuses, because what did Johnny do to her boyfriend?
Kill her boyfriend.
And once again, women, you know how they are when you go stabbing their boyfriends. I mean, just like me in high school. Page 131.
Wait. When are you going to tell us the stories about how you got arrested?
The last week of school.
I feel like wait, it's like he didn't even deserve to be arrested. No, he was drinking underage.
I killed a child. Buried the body. Never bury a body too shallow.
He was probably drinking and driving and drinking. Did you go for we saw the underage girl? Someone tried drinking and
Okay, Mason, did you say drinking under the influence?
Page 131, chapter 9. I'll pick up and keep going with you guys from there.
I thought you said drinking under the
Now
influence.
we're getting ready for the rumble. It was almost 6:30 when I got home. The rumble was set for 7, so I was late for supper, as usual. I always come in late. I forget what time it is. Derry had cooked dinner, baked chicken, potatoes, corn. 2 chickens because all 3 of us eat like horses, especially dairy. But although I love baked chicken, I could hardly swallow any. I swallowed 5 aspirins, though, when dairy and soda weren't looking. I do that all the time because I can't sleep very well at night. Dairy thinks I take just 1, but I usually take 4. I figured 5 would keep me going through the rumble and maybe get rid of my headache. Then I hurried to take a shower and change clothes. Me and soda and dairy always got spruced up before a rumble. And besides, we wanted to show those socias we weren't trash, that we were just as good as they were. Soda, I called from the bathroom, when did you start shaving? When I was 15, he yelled back. When did Dairy? When he was 13. Why? You figuring on growing a beard for the rumble? You're funny. We ought to send you into the Reader's Digest. I hear they pay a lot for funny things. Soda laughed and went right on playing poker with Steve in the living room. Dairy had on a tight black t-shirt that showed every muscle on his chest and even the flat, hard muscles of his stomach. I'd hate to be the Soch who takes a crack at him, I thought, as I pulled on a clean t-shirt and a fresh pair of jeans. And I wished my t-shirt was tighter. I have a pretty good build for my size, but I'd lost a lot of weight in Windrixville. It just didn't fit right. It was a chilly night. T-shirts aren't the warmest clothes in the world, but nobody ever gets cold in a rumble. And besides, jackets interfere with your swinging ability. Soda and Steve and I put on more hair oil than was necessary, but we wanted to show that we were greasers. Tonight, we could be proud of it. Greasers may not have much, but they have a rep. Well, that and long hair. You guys know what rep is slang for?
Yeah, reputation.
Reputation, there you go. Just making sure.
I'm gonna name it 3.
What kind of world is it where all I have to be proud of is a reputation for being a hood and greasy hair? I don't want to be a hood. But even if I don't steal things and mug people and get boozed up, I'm marked lousy. Why should I be proud of it? Why should I even pretend to be proud of it? Dairy never went in for the long hair. His was short and clean all the time. I sat in the armchair in the living room, waiting for the rest of the outfit to show up. But of course, tonight, the only one coming would be 2-Bit. Johnny and Dallas wouldn't show. Soda and Steve were playing cards and arguing as usual. Soda was keeping up a steady stream of wisecracks and clowning. Steve had turned up the radio so loud it almost broke my eardrums. Of course, everybody listens to it loud like that, but it wasn't just the best thing for a headache. You like fights, don't you, Soda? I asked suddenly. Yeah, sure, he shrugged. I like fights. How come? I don't know. He looked at me puzzled. It's action. It's a contest. Like a drag race or a dance or something. Shoot, said Steve. I want to beat those Soch's heads in. When I get in a fight, I want to stomp the other guy good. And I like it, too. How come you like fights, Derry? I asked, looking up at him as he stood behind me, leaning in the kitchen doorway. He gave me one of those looks that hide what he's thinking, but Soda piped up. He likes to show off his muscles. I'm going to show them off on you, little buddy, if you get any mouthier. I digested what Soda had said. It was the truth. Derry liked anything that took strength, like weightlifting or playing football or roofing houses, even if he was proud of being smart, too. Derry never said anything about it, but I knew he liked fights. I felt out of things. I'll fight anyone, anytime, but I don't like to. I don't know if you ought to be in this rumble, Pony, Derry said slowly. Oh no, I thought in mortal fear. I've got to be in it. Right then, the most important thing in my life was helping us whip the Sochs. Don't let them make me stay home now. I've got to be in it. How come? I've always come through before, ain't I? Yeah, Derry said with a proud grin. You fight real good for a kid your size. But you were in shape before. You've lost weight. And you don't look so great, kid. You're tensed up too much. Shoo, said Soda, trying to get the ace out of his shoe without Steve seeing him. We all get tensed up before a rumble. Oh, let him fight tonight. Skin never hurt anyone. No weapons, no danger. I'll be okay, I pleaded. I'll get a hold of a little one, okay? Well, Johnny won't be there this time. Johnny and I sometimes ganged up on one big guy. But then Curly Shepherd won't be there either, or Dally, and we're going to need every man we can get. Huh? What happened to Shepard? I asked, remembering Tim Shepard's kid brother Curly, who was tough, cool, hard as nails Tim, but in miniature. And I'd once played chicken by holding our cigarette ends against each other's fingers. We had stood there, clenching our teeth and grimacing, with sweat pouring down our faces and the smell of burning flesh making us sick, each refusing to holler, until Tim happened to stroll by. When he saw that we were really burning holes in each other, he cracked our heads together, swearing to kill us both if we ever pulled a stunt like that again. I still have the scar on my forefinger. Curly was an average downtown hood. Tough, not real bright, but I liked him. He could take anything. He's in the cooler, Steve said, kicking the ace out of Soda's shoe. In the reformatory. Once again, what is the cooler?
Jail.
Yeah, not the place where you keep your drinks. Again, I thought, and said, let me fight, Derry. If it was blades or chains or something, it'd be different. Nobody ever really gets hurt in a skin rumble. Well, Derry gave in. I guess you can, but be careful. And if you get in a jam, holler, and I'll get you out. And then I'm going to send Jordan to go get his book, so I don't have to keep charging him points. 1 second. You're down to 13. And I'll get you out. I'll be okay, I said warily. How come you never worry about Soda Pop as much? I don't see you lecturing him. Man, Derry grinned and put his arm across Soda's shoulders. This is one kid, brother, I don't have to worry about. Soda punched him in the ribs affectionately. This kiddo can use his head. Soda Pop looked down at me with mock superiority, but Derry went on. You can see he uses it for one thing, to grow hair on. He ducked Soda's swing and then took off for the door. Two-Bit stuck his head in the door just as Derry went flying out of it. Leaping as he went off the steps, Derry turned a somersault in mid-air, hit the ground, and then bounced up before Soda could catch him. Well up, Two-Bit said cheerfully, cocking an eyebrow. I see we are in prime condition for a rumble. Is everybody happy? Yeah! Screamed Soda as he too did a flying somersault off the steps. He flipped up to walk on his hands and then did a no-hands cartwheel across the yard to beat Derry's performance. The excitement was catching. Screeching like an Indian, Steve went running across the lawn and flying leaps, stopped suddenly, and then flipped backward. We could all do acrobatics because Derry had taken a course at the Y and then spent a whole summer teaching us everything he'd learned on the grounds, and it might come in handy in a fight. You guys know what the Y is?
Yeah.
Making sure YMCA. Just like the song that Marvin hates. It did, but it also got Two-Bit and Soda jailed once. They were doing mid-air flips down a downtown sidewalk, walking on their hands and otherwise disturbing the public and the police. Leave it to those two to pull something like that. With a happy whoop, I did a no-hands cartwheel off the porch steps, hit the ground, and rolled to my feet. Two-Bit followed me in a similar manner. I am a greaser, Soda Pop chanted. I am a JD and a hood. I blacken the name of our fair city. I beat up people. I rob gas stations. I am a menace to society. Man, do I have fun. Greaser, 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 Steve sing-songed. Oh, victim of environment, underprivileged, rotten, no-count hood. Juvenile delinquent, you're no good, Derry shouted. I mean, it's always great when you break into song in the middle of getting ready to beat people up. Hang on, pause for a second. I'm going to have you turn pages to page 160, which is in 24. That's what you're going to get to by Thursday. So you're going to have all of after the test today, then after the test Wednesday. But Thursday, we're talking about there. The drawback is we're going to have characters die, multiple, in those 24 pages. So when you find that out, do not break it to other people and ruin it for them. So just giving you a heads up on there.